The Baghdad Battery. A clay jar the size of a fist, a copper cylinder sealed inside it, an iron rod running through the center, the mouth plugged with asphalt. It was pulled from the earth near Baghdad in the 1930s and filed among the minor relics of a forgotten era. But there was nothing minor about what it implied, because if certain researchers are correct, this humble vessel is a battery, an electrical device, built roughly 2,000 years before the modern world discovered how to harness current. The science is surprisingly simple. Two dissimilar metals, copper and iron, separated by an insulating seal and immersed in an acidic liquid, vinegar, lemon juice, fermented wine, will produce a small but measurable voltage through galvanic reaction. Modern experimenters have replicated it. Working models generate enough current to electroplate a thin layer of gold onto metal. Others have proposed medical uses, mild electrical stimulation, mirroring the ancient practice of applying torpedo fish to ease pain. The physics works. The question is whether anyone 2 millennia ago knew that it would. Some researchers believe the answer lies not in a workshop, but in a temple. Imagine a priest in a darkened sanctuary pressing a sacred vessel into the hands of a worshipper who feels a sudden, inexplicable jolt, not painful, but unmistakable, a sensation with no visible cause. In a world where lightning belonged to the gods, even a fraction of a volt could be mistaken for divine fire. The battery becomes a miracle machine, a tool not of science but of awe, and in the esoteric traditions of the ancient Near East, where alchemy sought to animate matter and refine the soul, an object that made metal tingle with invisible force would have been extraordinary. Then there are the stranger possibilities that the jar was never meant to function alone, that it was one component of a larger system, now lost, its organic connectors long since returned to dust, that it was a fragment of knowledge inherited, or taught, or witnessed, a crude replica of something far more advanced that ancient hands could approximate but never fully reproduce. There is no proof for any of this, but the history of archaeology is filled with objects that could not exist until they did. Of course, it may be none of these things. The components may not have originally belonged together. The jar may have stored scrolls or incense. The battery interpretation may be a modern fantasy projected onto an ancient accident. The skeptics are not wrong to insist on caution. Plausible is not the same as proven. And yet the jar endures, small, silent, and unyielding. It offers no confession. It simply sits behind glass and asks a question that the whole of modern scholarship has failed to answer. What did they know? What have we forgotten? And what else is buried out there, waiting for someone to look closely enough to wonder?